Hi guys, this is Ria from Let's OTT. You know me, and I am joined today by Pranay Manchanda. You probably
Hi.
know him also, but I'll still give an introduction. He is an actor, he is a writer, he is a director. But you've seen him like in a lot of videos on YouTube and on Dice Media's official channel, on Filter Copy, in TVF's Baked, which was a big thing for branded content at one time. And I'm very sad that it doesn't exist anymore. You didn't continue the show. But
Hopefully soon it will again. Yeah.
exclusive. We're joined by Pranay today because he was in a film, not so little film called Comedy Couple on Z5. And I mean, the film got great reviews. It's really funny. Just to give a little background, it's about a comedy couple. It's about a couple who decided to do stand-up comedy together, which is a unique concept in itself. And Pranay kind of plays this very exasperated manager for the two of them because उनका झगड़ा होता है फिर वो ब्रेकअप करते हैं फिर वो वापस आते हैं फिर वो ब्रेकअप करते हैं. A lot is happening in the film. So Pranay, how
Yeah.
did you kind of land the project, and what is the kind of feedback that you've been getting so far?
Honestly, I've been very surprised with some really good feedback for the film, and for myself, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah.
Because more than anything else, because we were shooting this in the lockdown.
Hmm.
It was the first thing that we were shooting, that I was shooting after, the entire pandemic had happened and everything.
Right.
And it was nerve wracking to actually do it, to actually go on set for the first time. And you're seeing everybody with masks, and you're not realizing, like, so many people after 3-4 days, I thought, yeah, I've got to ask them that please go 5 feet back and remove your mask so that I can recognize you, because I have no idea what you look like.
Don't know which
So
crew you're working with.
I have no idea which to, if there were more projects happening at the same time
Hmm.
in that area, I would have walked into a different set without even realizing it.
I'm sure.
So yeah, as for how I landed the project, I got a call from the casting director asking me to audition for it. I read the script, I really liked it,
Hmm.
and the director also seemed like someone who I would sort of want to work with. And it was true, because when I worked with him, I realized that he's such a I've never met such an observant person before. He's constantly sort of looking for things that he can use in different places and stuff like that. And
Right.
it's really nice when you're working with another student of the craft. And not to say that he's not sort of a master at it or anything like that, but just the greatest masters are always constantly students. Yeah, so it was a really exciting opportunity to be part of it. Of course, like for one week I was like, nahi, main nahi karne wala, because COVID and the whole thing. We'd gone back to Delhi, and we were staying with our parents and stuff, so, and grandparents, so there's that fear of transferring it to them and stuff like that. But eventually, yeah, I mean, I got convinced into doing it, and I'm more than happy that I did it, because it was a fantastic experience.
You are kind of like a modern veteran of short form content, if I can call you that.
Oh
So,
god.
so
Better. Okay.
yeah, are you happy
Yeah.
getting
I
into
mean, I am getting some gray hair and all,
yeah.
but I don't think I'm that old yet.
But now this is like a foray into film, although
Yeah.
it's a very important supporting role. But do we get to see you do something a little more like lead mainstream? This is still in your zone. It's still in the comedy zone.
Is it like, I mean, I'm just wondering, is it important to make that the next step? Because of course I would want to be part of a plot where I am, where I'm playing a very crucial part of that plot.
Right.
Now that doesn't mean that I'm playing the lead character. It can be that I'm playing a 1 minute role, but if that 1 minute role is providing some crucial bit to that plot,
Yeah.
then I would think that that film or that project would be really worthwhile to do. So yeah, I'm looking to do more and more things that in which I'm centrally part of the plot, and something that's meaty in that sense. So yeah, I mean, I'm conventionally, I don't think about it as though, yeah, I want to create like a body, and I want to become a lead actor and all that. No, that doesn't interest me.
I mean, no offense to Saqib and Shweta, who, by the way, have done an excellent job in the film. I mean, they're
Absolutely,
really
and they're
funny.
both brilliant
They're
actors. Yeah.
very good actors, but it's a rom-com and it is about, the comedy couple. But, you end up after the film was over, I was just like, I remember you, I remember your line. And I remember how exasperated you are, when you're sitting
Yeah.
in that toilet cubicle and you're just like, "Ab main nahi kar sakta." You remember those scenes like that. And
Yeah.
then, of course, the actor who played their real estate agent, that poor guy, like,
He's the funniest guy.
he's the
He's the
funniest
funniest.
lines in the entire
Yeah.
movie. So yeah,
Yeah.
you end up remembering, it's kind
Yeah.
of like a throwback to, slightly older films where you remember character actors much more than you remember the main star. Uh,
Yeah.
so like Keshto Mukherjee or Mukri Saab or
Yeah.
something like that. So I think that's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
I kind of
But I've
agree.
got to say, to add to what you're saying.
Yeah,
At the same time, I'd like to say that the lead actors have to provide a sense of sort of solid grounding to the
of course.
project, and I think that Saqib and Shweta have done that so well, because that they if they weren't grounded and they didn't have that sort of gravitas to their performances, none of the other performances would have been worthwhile. So actually, what they've done is the biggest thing for the film. That
Yeah, sure.
they and it's all about them, sort of actually their relationship
Yeah. They have
at the end of the
amazing
day. So
chemistry in the film. There's so much
yeah, so
chemistry between the two of them.
yeah, so I've got to say that like I always think about it this way, that there if you're doing a comedy,
Hmm.
there is always going to be a person who is not delivering the punchline, but is the one who's aiding the person to deliver the punchline.
Sure, sure.
And I think I saw my role in this film as that.
Hmm.
I saw that I am servicing the sort of the meat of the plot to be able to like help Shweta and Saqib's characters sort of deliver them to their entirety. Yeah.
2020, very special year, not just shooting a film during a pandemic, but also directing an entire series. Second season of first for Dice.
Yes. Yeah.
And of course, you did
Yeah.
that at your residence in Delhi with your wife, who was, I mean,
Yes.
was opposite you
Yes.
in the show. So what was
Yeah.
that experience like? I mean, is it easy working with your wife? Is she hearing you? You can be honest.
She's not hearing us, but she's in the other room somewhere. Um, so, but uh, we work really well together.
Yeah, you do.
So that's a real plus point for us. We really enjoy working with each other. We enjoy sort of brainstorming with each other and just riffing off each other. So
Yeah.
that really helps us in our working styles. Of course, not to say that sometimes, like, we don't know where to draw the line between the fact that we are husband and wife and the fact that we are working together. So sometimes, of course, there's that thing of, I'll feel a little bad about something, like, oh shit, you didn't like that. I'm feeling bad now.
Ah,
But I think that sort of helps us grow, and take it forward, because we're not here to constantly tell each other that, oh wow, you've done a great job, or Pranay, you've done a great job, Kriti, you've done a great job. We're here to sort of help the other person grow, and that's why I think during the shooting of first, we were like, it was a really collaborative process, of course, because we both were the only two people on set, and which means that we were doing costume, makeup, lighting, cinematography, direction, acting, all of it together. So it wasn't. I wouldn't say that I was directing it so it was sort of more my vision or anything like that, because Kriti and I work well together, and we work so much together that we sort of constantly were having that conversation about how we wanted to go. What is the I saw an interview of Pankaj Tripathi, where he said something really nice, where he said that acting is all about how much, kitna dalna chahiye. So we were constantly having that conversation about the levels that we need to keep for a show like First season 2. So so that was really helpful. So, but it was a blast, because we didn't have anything on us, and the lockdown had just happened. It had literally just happened 5-8 days before,
yeah.
and we started shooting, and we didn't know what to use even a tripod for, like, because we didn't have a tripod. So we stacked up a few books on top of a trolley, and then we put a old cassette sort of cassette holder on top of that, and then we put the phone on top of that. So it was DIY way of shooting a series.
Yeah. I mean, in that way, you guys really are like the embodiment of the comedy couple because, I mean, in that sense, everything is very collaborative. You guys have done
Yeah,
so many videos together.
yeah.
You obviously you look like a wonderful pair. Goes without saying. I mean, you look like a wonderful pair even in
Thank you.
real
You're the
life.
first person who's saying that, because I keep getting messages say, "तूने कैसे शादी कर ली उससे?"
I
And so those type of messages. So thank you for saying that. And please,
I
everybody
mean,
else who's
I'll put
watching
it
this,
this way: if Kriti has married you, she probably saw something good in you. So
okay, that's a nice way of punching me in the stomach, but fine, I'll take it.
yeah, but then at the end of the day, you're her director, so so it's an equal give
Yeah,
and take.
we
Uh,
actually met when we were, when I was directing on a play. So
oh,
that's
really?
how we met. Yeah,
Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's a lovely meet cute. I think you
yeah,
should use it in one of your videos at some point of time.
yeah. Probably.
Probably. Pranay, the way you kind of started your career in this, streaming in short form content with Baked or even with all the
Yeah,
videos that you do for Dice and Twitter Copy, for anything
yeah.
else that you've done for TVF, Aam Aadmi, and now First, it is at the end of the day, it is all branded content. Now,
Yes.
if our audience doesn't know what branded content is, guys, it is how do I articulate this in the best way possible? It is when people weave stories, which can be feature films or they can be shows, web series, TV shows, which are centered around one particular brand or a product. It's not product placement. It's not like कि मैंने यहाँ पर एक कोक का कैन रख दिया या एक हाइड एंड सीक का बिस्किट खा लिया. It's essentially where the story is kind of centered around that brand without throwing it into your face. It's very important these days. It's a very interesting thing that has kind of come up, especially with independent content companies like TVF and with Dice, who are kind of only doing this work. So from your perspective, somebody who is an actor, who's a writer, who's a director, what do you think about this boom? Not too many people are talking about it. It's like this unique symbiosis of advertising and content. So I'd love to know.
First things first, I think the one show that didn't have any brand on board when we did it was Baked.
Yeah,
Uh,
not
so
initially. Yeah,
yeah, so Baked season one was completely, done with. It was a brainchild of Akash and Vishwajoy, and they sort of came to us and they said, we're funding it ourselves, we're doing it all ourselves. Are you guys willing to be part of it? And we were like, yeah, let's do it. So we shot for 40 days with no plan in mind. Where it's going to go, who's going to buy it, uh, whether they'll recover the money. All that stuff was not there. So that was completely non-branded.
yeah,
um, but of course the other stuff that I've done, a lot of things have been branded. And what I feel about it is that, really honestly, like there needs to be a balance with your storytelling and the branding that it involves, because I think the audience is smart enough to know that if we're saying that, तुम ये ड्रिंक पियोगे तो तुम्हारी लाइफ सबसे बेस्ट हो जाएगी, and all that, if we start doing that sort of nonsense, then it becomes, the audience is also like, yaar ab agla video dekhte hain yaar, this is
sure.
not interesting to us.
Hmm.
So I think there needs to be a balance, and it needs to be as truthfully told as possible.
Hmm.
And at the same time, the creativity needs to be able to shine. Sometimes what happens is that in a branded content scenario, the non creative people start taking creative calls, and when they start doing that is when shit goes wrong,
Yeah,
basically, if I
yeah,
can say that.
yeah,
Um, so so I think it's important for there to be a collaboration between the brand and the client and the creative people, because and they need to sort of respect that, look, these guys know how to do business, and these guys know how to come up with stories and tell stories,
yeah.
and let's sort of amalgamate that and marry the two and then tell a really good story. So I think it's basically about the balance. If we get the balance right, nothing like it. There's so much, like TVF Pictures had done to Beer Hair
Yeah.
with Kingfisher, and it was the perfect amalgamation of creativity with that brand value uh, integrated in it. So I think if people are able to do that, there's nothing like it. then it moves seamlessly.
And these it is essentially OTT platforms, streaming platforms. Initially, it was of course independent channels on YouTube, but now even
Yeah,
like big players, Z5, Netflix, all of that are kind of on board with this kind of content. You kind of made your entire career, on OTT platforms, or on streaming platforms everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah, what do you have to say? Do you watch a lot of shows online? Are there any favorites of yours that you watch? Any films that you'd like to recommend?
Uh, so
Apart
I
from
don't
Comedy
watch.
Couple, guys, go and watch Comedy
Yeah,
Couple.
of course, Comedy Couple. I watched it the other day. There's this one character, Sidhu. He's pretty good. Yeah,
It's pretty good.
so
That's what I heard.
he's pretty. But yeah, I mean, I to be honest, I don't watch as much as I should be watching.
Sure.
And I realize that every time I watch, I learn more and more about my own craft, about writing, directing, acting, all of it. But so I can't say that I watch a lot of it, but I think it's the this boom that's happened is really interesting because initially a lot of experimental stuff was happening, some really good work was coming out. Then there was sort of a downward wave where I think more work started coming out, but because it was so branded and so many big corporations were sort of pushing it, there was a bit of a lull in terms of the creativity, and they started taking formulas from TV and just putting them in on the web. And so I think that was a lull, and now again there's been a boom
Again.
where I feel like now they're sort of seeing the horizon as nothing limited, and money has come in into the platforms, so people are being able to create a lot more with what they want to do and stuff like that. So no, I won't be able to recommend anything because I'm a little far behind, because I still haven't watched Mirzapur, which I really want to watch. I just finished watching.
Good, guys. Yeah.
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 So I just finished watching Sacred Games season 2.
Oh
So
wow.
that's where I am, right?
You're
I'm
pretty
that
late.
far.
अच्छा, फिर तो मैं ही recommendation दे दूंगी, रहने दो.
Please, please.
No,
In
no
fact, why don't you
recommendation.
send me some recommendations to
I'll
watch?
do that. Guys, start bombarding Pranay's Instagram with like recommendations of what he
Please,
should be
please tell me.
watching online.
Yeah, please.
When it comes to the character of Mohammad Haris in Baked, I mean I have very fond memories of being from North Campus myself. So that entire scenario that Baked created, people
Yeah,
living in Morris Nagar and otherwise in the north part of Delhi, these
yeah,
hustlers who had come from outside and big dreams and all of that. So yeah, back to where we started. You said that there is a possibility that we will see more of Baked. But now, and you kind of let the cat out of the bag. But what can we expect from like the future of these characters? Assuming Haris, because that's not a character that you kind of played again. You didn't do it again.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't do that again, and that's a character that's like very close to my heart and will always be, because
Yeah.
that's the first thing I did. But I'll tell you something. I'll tell you a secret. Um, about almost 2 years ago, we shot for a baked film.
Oh wow! Really?
We spent about 45 days shooting for the film,
Hmm.
and we shot it. And it was again, Vishwajoy and Akash came to us and they said, again, we don't have a platform, we don't have anything, we don't have any money. We're going to do this on the fly. We're going to do this guerrilla style shooting back to season 1 style.
Hmm.
But this time it's going to be a film.
Okay.
So we did shoot for a film.
Yeah.
Now I can't give you any more details. I'm not allowed to give you any more details, unfortunately.
Okay.
But maybe it'll come out soon. I don't know. Maybe it won't. Maybe it won't be a film, and they'll just cut it into a season.
Okay.
So I don't know. I have no idea what's happening with that. And even if I did, I don't think they'd allow me to tell you, because I'm a this small person in that entire scheme of things. Yeah.
This is
But
enough information.
yeah, but the exciting thing is that hopefully soon something will happen
Yeah.
with Baked.
And of course the advantage you have is that when you shot it at that time, maybe you didn't have a platform to back you up, but I think like that avenue might have opened up now. I think there are
Ah.
plenty of platforms who can have this movie on their service.
Yeah, if there's any platforms listening, you guys can please, contact Vishwajoy and Akash to
Yeah, we're pitching also.
just take your wallets
Picture
out
release
and
kar do na bhai.
just
Such a brilliantly. I mean, it's initially a westernized concept, right? Like to have like these shows and series, which then eventually get spinned off into films, into
Yeah,
series. So that's interesting. That's a good
yeah,
concept. If it's coming here, if it starts something off, that will be
yeah,
yeah. Pranay, your first love kind of has always been theatre. At least that's what I've read about you.
yeah,
With your training in classical acting and all of that,
yeah,
I'm assuming. With the pandemic situation, I mean, of course, the restrictions have lifted. You've been able to shoot a show and a film, so it's not
yes.
like it's not possible. But theaters, ke liye, it looks like a sorry situation at this point of time. So, like, what are you thinking? What is the hope for the future? I see a lot of
Mm.
actors and technicians and things like that. Online, they're really beseeching people to
Yeah.
kind of support independent and small theaters and theater groups and theater venues.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really happening over here that much. So, like, yeah, what do you have to say to that?
So I was thinking very much on the lines that you were thinking about 5 days ago,
Oh,
saying
okay.
that what is going to happen to the theater, because the thing is that if you watch a play on Zoom,
Hmm.
it's not fun, right?
Yeah,
It's I remember even when we used to shoot our plays and then want to put them up or send them to somebody for a festival or something like that. You never feel the play as much as you do when you watch it live,
yeah,
because that's the point of theater. It's the energy that's being transferred between the audience and the actor
yeah,
constantly, like there's a constant back and forth.
yeah,
So I think that was a big problem that I was facing with theater. And I have a theater company back in Delhi, and I was
yeah,
talking to my partners the other day, and I asked them, I was like, what is happening, because I've been more or less out of touch with theater for a while now. So they're sort of my connection to that world. So they said something really interesting about, now theater is moving in directions which we hadn't even thought of.
hmm,
Because of course every industry has to think on its feet now, right?
yeah,
It's not going to be the same. A Book My Show or a Insider.com is not going to be able to sell tickets for a live event anymore, at least in the foreseeable future. So what do they do? So I think for theater as well, they're moving into using all aspects of screen and theater together
hmm,
and collaborating between the two and creating a new art form altogether almost.
yeah,
So I think there's some really exciting prospects coming up, and even though that won't be like an alternative to theater,
yeah,
but it'll be a almost a third, like how test matches and ODIs and then T20s came about. It's almost like a different format
yeah,
altogether.
yeah,
So it's going to be pretty interesting, if you're able to take a camera
hmm,
and put it into a theater space, and then work with it. It'll be really fun to do that. So yeah, my partners in my theater company are doing some really exciting stuff, so I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Coming from my perspective, because I used to watch a lot of theater till the theaters have like shut down right now,
Yeah.
and yeah, and a lot of a huge part of my education has also been kind of talking about documentation of theater. So from my perspective, what I understand is two things. I mean, first of all, it's a great educational resource. If we can get more people to record as many live performances as possible, it's great for it as an educational resource, which a lot of public libraries and archives do all over the world, but it's not really happening here. It's not zyada. So
Yeah.
maybe that would happen in the future. And the second thing is this rush that especially that I saw. I mean, of course, Hamilton is a huge name already, but this rush that after Hamilton came on Disney Plus Hotstar, it was kind of
Yeah.
like people who were not watching theater before were like using this like, oh, this is I don't mind watching more of this. So it's
Yeah.
more from an accessibility point of view because a lot of people don't have theaters nearby or they don't know about street theater or local
Mm.
theater. So maybe if they have that option of watching it online, they might actually, when the pandemic is over, whenever the vaccination comes, and whenever the restrictions are lifted, they'll be actually going out to their closest theaters and watching live theater, also live performance, live plays. We've got such a lovely historical, socio-cultural resource of plays and theater. We've got such great local writers, living
Yeah.
and passed on. And in regional languages, people Gujarati Marathi theater is like thriving at it.
Yeah.
So Pranay, I think your social media is hilarious. I think you do these really. Your latest video was also pretty funny. The one in which you're getting ready for a job interview during a pandemic.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
so guys, please go and like follow Pranay's Instagram. It's a very simple handle. It's Pranay. So so you can search for it and you can. Oh, and also please bombard him with DMs of recommendations on digital platforms. I really want to see
Yeah.
that happen.
Anything beyond Sacred Games season 2, I
Secret
will
Game
watch.
season 2 and Mirzapur because they're like, it's like, okay, like, guys, have you seen that? Of course, I've seen it. I'm on OTT, and those are the two shows that I've seen.
Yeah. But
But
I've got to say that I've always been late to the game. You know, once in college, I met a friend and I was like, "Hey, have you heard of this new rapper called Eminem?" And he was like, "Eminem has
ये
been
हमारे
around."
स्कूल के टाइम पे जो स्पगेटी खाता
And
था जब हम 11
uh,
साल के थे.
so I'm always late to the game. So I'm okay with that also.
No
If
problem.
you guys want to recommend stuff to me, please do.
Please, and also please go and follow the official channels of Dice Media and Filter Copy on YouTube because they do some hilarious stuff there. It goes without
Yeah.
saying. And thank you so much. Thank you for joining us, Pranay. You can see
Thank you.
Pranay in Comedy Couple, which is on Z5. Do you have any? You've spoken about Bait, Cup, probable season, the next season, or film. And but do you have anything else that you're working on? Acting, directing, writing?
So I am, but I can't talk about it.
कोई भी information नहीं मिलेगा.
I can't talk about it right now. But it's really exciting, and it's going to be, it's going to be out soon.
Okay.
Things are going to be happening soon.
Okay, you know what? I'll hold you to this. The moment you can reveal some information, I should be the first one.
I will tell you first, for sure. I'm giving you a pinky promise on this. I promise you.
I have it on record now.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, 100%.
you know, like verbal contracts are well, not in this grand state of Maharashtra, but somewhere.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
court will adhere to the principles of verbal contracts. Yes.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, Pranay. And guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the content of Let's OTT. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, and we are on Twitter. This is me, Ria, signing off. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.